Oh. Oh, damn. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. I was watching the next episode of Batwoman, and suddenly I just couldn't keep my eyes open. Oh, weird, huh? But now that I'm all rested, it's time to get back to work. So, what am I reviewing today? Batwoman Episode 3. Okay, here we go again. This one was kind of the antithesis of Episode 2. In that one, a lot of stuff happened, but it made no sense. Here, almost nothing happened, and even when it did make sense, I didn't care because 1, it was so incredibly stupid, and 2, I was bored out of my goddamn mind. So yeah. In week 3, Batwoman just put forth the absolute worst episode they could have possibly delivered right now. After a big ratings drop in the second week, they hand us this. An episode where no stories are really advanced, nothing interesting happens, there's virtually no action whatsoever, which might be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it, and the story takes so goddamn long getting to wherever the hell it's going that by the time it finally gets there, you've completely lost interest. And on the off chance that you haven't lost interest, you're going to be so pissed off beyond belief at the main character's appalling behavior that you're going to want to rage quit the show altogether unless you have to watch it because you're one of the poor bastards reviewing it like me. But I'll give them credit for one thing. If you happen to be suffering from insomnia while watching this episode, you just found your cure. You want more details? Well, that's why I'm here. So buckle up and let's deep dive into the third episode of Batwoman, Down, Down, Down. Which might as well be referring to the ratings. And I feel absolutely no sympathy for them. The episode begins with Alice having a dream where she's Beth as a kid. So they're basically confirming now that Alice is in fact Beth. So beats me why they had to leave that unresolved last week. If that wasn't going to be a mystery, then why not just do the DNA test? I don't know. She's looking around some basement, and she finds a Michael Myers mask in a bucket of water, and then she wakes up terrified. We switch to Kate, who is sticking with this flat, monotone, lifeless narration for now, God knows why, but she narrates that she's feeling the pressure of being Gotham's protector and doesn't think she can do it because she's not Bruce. So she's not quite in full-blown Yas Queen Slay mode yet. That's encouraging, but not if you were hoping to get any laughs out of this episode. She sees the bat signal in the sky and goes to find out what the deal is. But she goes there as Kate, not as Batwoman. I guess the whole secret identity concept hasn't been explained to her yet. So Alice is there waiting for her, she's the one who shined the bat signal, but somehow it's just them two. Miraculously, the bat signal has not attracted anyone else at all. Not the police, not the media, no one. So Kate's secret identity is safe, except from the murdering psychopath who already knows it. Yeah, lest we forget, Alice has murdered multiple people in the last 2 episodes. But rather than trying to capture her and taking her to the police, or at least subduing her so she can't murder anyone else, Kate instead tells Alice that if she can go 24 hours without killing anyone, maybe she'll give Alice her boyfriend back. That's Trader Crow guy from last week. Apparently Kate just has him tied up somewhere so she can continue torturing him. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen. So Alice begrudgingly agrees to this. And that's it. All they do is talk. Despite Alice already being a murderer several times over, Kate doesn't even try to stop her here. She just lets Alice leave. Which means that the dude that Alice murders a few scenes later, that's Kate's fault. And I have to say this, I have to point this out, because the episode never even tries to blame Kate for it. There's not one moment where Kate feels guilty about that. She could have captured Alice right there, but she didn't even try, and now an innocent man is dead because of it. F*** you, Kate. We cut to Sophie, who's doing fight training with her husband. This is intercut with the scene from last week where she told Kate to move on. Sophie's obviously not at peace with this, and she's taking it out on her husband, and then he wants to get breakfast, but she blows him off to go to work. It's the third episode, and they're already having problems. Not a single f*** is given about this relationship. Sophie reports to Kate's dad, who, at the very least, is going over the events of last week and wondering who would want Alice dead when she's already in police custody. But he doesn't bother to, question the police officers who are trying to murder Alice live on the news, because that would be the smart thing to do, and God knows we can't have that. Sophie has been made the bodyguard of Kate's stepsister, whose name I finally learned. Mary. Still haven't learned Trader Crow guy's name, but he's a straight white male, so his name probably doesn't matter. So Sophie is now Mary's bodyguard, but weirdly enough, no one bothered to tell Mary about this. So her life is in enough danger for her to need protection, but not in enough danger to actually tell her that she's in danger. Makes sense to me. So Sophie takes this opportunity to make sure a cute boy stays away from Mary because, as we all know, heterosexuality is the devil. And then she spends the rest of the time grilling Mary about Kate. Why didn't she take the job with the Crows? Blah, blah, blah. Acting like a jealous ex, which Mary points out, so Mary's not putting up with Sophie's bullshit either. You know what? I like Mary. She comes off like a bit of a ditz sometimes, but she's observant, and she's got layers. The actress is good, and she's way more charming than Kate is. Of course, you could say that about most of these characters. So Mary's like, well, Kate didn't take the job with the Crows because she didn't want to be around you because she's brokenhearted over you. Really? You wouldn't know that by the way Kate's been acting. She really doesn't seem all that bothered by it. But maybe that's due to the fact that the actresses have no chemistry and Ruby Rose couldn't act brokenhearted if you hit her in the heart with a sledgehammer. Then Kate goes to Bruce's office because the plot says she has to, and who does she find there but Bruce's childhood friend, Tommy Elliott. So the writers couldn't even wait 3 episodes before they started co-opting Batman characters. The Supergirl writers would be proud. Tommy talks about Batman being back in town because the media still thinks that Kate is Batman at this point, and he thinks this means that Bruce is back in town as well. So he obviously knows Bruce is Batman, and he's being hilariously not subtle about it. And he also thinks it's suspicious how Kate seems to be having a complete non-reaction to the news that Batman is back, since she's supposed to hate him. I mean, I guess that could be Kate trying to appear nonplussed about the whole thing, since Batman is her, but I think it's just bad acting. Regardless, Tommy is throwing a party, and he leaves an invitation for Bruce, or whoever the hell else wants to use it, I guess. Then Kate gets a message from Luke, and he takes her to a Wayne Enterprises R&D facility that just got robbed, and whoever did it made off with a special high-tech gun that was being kept there. So Bruce Wayne, who hates guns, and has always adamantly refused to use guns because a gun killed his parents, is using his parents' company to build and store guns. The very idea of this is so ludicrous that they have to write an entire scene to explain how it can even be a thing. Naturally, the explanation sucks. The reason is, I shit you not, that since the Batsuit is bulletproof, Bruce had to invent a new kind of gun that could shoot a hole in the Batsuit, because if the Batsuit ever fell into the wrong hands, the person wearing it would be bulletproof and thus unstoppable. Never mind the fact that the exact same goddamn thing would apply to a fucking Kevlar vest. Never mind the fact that just attacking that person in the lower part of their face that the suit doesn't cover up would be a much easier solution and much more in keeping with Batman's character than inventing a high-tech railgun that would be a hell of a lot more dangerous if it fell into the wrong hands, which it just did, by the way. But why on God's green earth would Bruce build a weapon like this and then keep it in a fucking Wayne Enterprises R&D lab that could be easily broken into? If he only needed the gun as a Batsuit deterrent, then why not just keep it in the Batcave? And why in the bluest of blue fucks would he even tell anyone about this gun in the first place? He obviously didn't keep it a secret because someone knew it was there and broke in to steal the fucking thing. None of this makes any sense whatsoever. The entire episode is falling apart, and God help me, we're not even 20 minutes in yet. So to demonstrate how dangerous this railgun is, Luke shoots a hole in the Batsuit, and then they just leave the suit like that, so the next time Kate needs the suit, it'll have a big hole in it. And that makes sense because the episode was written by a chimp at a typewriter in a freshly painted room. Then someone fucks up a Batman effigy and leaves it on the street, And I guess Kate is supposed to be bothered by this, but she reacts the same way she reacts to everything else. And by that, I mean she has no reaction to it at all. So Kate and Luke are talking about various things. Kate doesn't think that Alice knows Bruce is Batman, but that makes no fucking sense. Alice knew Kate was Batwoman. Kate is Bruce's cousin. Bruce has all the money, facilities, technology, and whatnot that Batman would need to do what he does, and both Bruce and Batman mysteriously disappeared from Gotham 3 years ago at the exact same time. It doesn't take much brainpower to connect those fucking dots. But no, I guess that's a code that Alice just can't crack. Despite her knowing that Kate is Batwoman, I guess she thinks that Kate just magically pulled a batsuit and all this crime-fighting tactical gear out of her ass, despite Kate being an unemployed 20-something who lives with her parents. That's Kate's theory, anyway. Kate also thinks that Tommy knows Bruce is Batman. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And thinks that Tommy is the one who stole the railgun. This could have been easily avoided if Bruce had just kept the railgun a secret, but apparently he was too smart for that. So Luke tells Kate to go kick Tommy's ass. But Kate is hesitant because the city is looking to her to be Gotham's protector, and she doesn't think she can be that because she's not Batman. That's the second time she's said this, and you can probably tell where it's going. So Kate goes to Tommy's party. Her whole family was invited, apparently, and while they're gone, Alice breaks into their apartment and murders a crow who was left there to guard the empty apartment. So yeah, that man's death, 100% Kate's fault. Fuck you, Kate. At this point, we're halfway through this damn episode and absolutely nothing has happened. So naturally, this is the perfect time for the entire cast to go to a fucking party. Kate has to share an elevator with Sophie and Mary because that was more awkward than her taking a different elevator. They bicker some more, and Kate reminds Sophie that she told Kate to move on. And I have to ask, move on from what? This relationship supposedly ended years ago and seemed to have all the romantic chemistry of two action figures getting their faces smushed together. Then Kate enters the party, and because this is the CW, she instantly gets a new love interest from literally the first human being she interacts with. She starts flirting with this girl bartender, but she gets interrupted by Sophie's husband, who reveals that Kate never told him that her and Kate were a thing, and apparently never even told him about Kate at all. Because, you know, he's a straight white man. He doesn't need to know things. Then Kate talks to Tommy, and the R&D robbery comes up, and she tries to rattle him by saying that the stolen railgun had a GPS tracker in it. And then in the next scene, Tommy is in his office, fumbling with the railgun like a dumbass, looking for this GPS tracker, and Kate just casually strolls right in. Tommy has this high-tech stolen firearm out where anyone could see it, and he didn't even lock the fucking door. Because he's a Batman villain, so we have to make him look like a goddamn idiot so Batwoman can look better by comparison or something. Jesus Christ. So apparently Tommy hates Batman because Batman saved his mother's life once, meaning that Tommy couldn't get his inheritance due to his mother still being alive and he was stuck taking care of her for years. Wow, what a bitch, huh? If he hated her that much, I don't know why he couldn't just kill her. I think that's what he did in the comics, but I guess that would have made too much sense. So Tommy paid the Riddler to tell him who Batman is, and here we are. Oh god, please don't bring the Riddler into this. Look, I know he's not as cool as he used to be, but I always liked the Riddler. Please don't subject him to this garbage. So then Tommy uses an app on his fucking smartphone to lock all the elevators, trapping people inside them, and says that if Kate doesn't produce Batman on the roof in 1 hour, he's gonna blow those elevators. And to prove his point, he crashes the one with the kitchen staff in it. As it happens, Kate's dad and stepmom are in one elevator, and Mary, Sophie, and her husband are in another one. And they were all leaving because Alice called the dad from their apartment just to get under his skin. Emergency personnel arrive immediately, so you'd think it's all good now. I mean, they've got a whole hour to get 2 elevators open, that's plenty of time, right? But no, they're completely useless. So while they're stuck in this elevator, Sophie and her husband are arguing about Kate. Sophie's deflecting everything, and Mary comments how she totally forgot that these two were even married. Because of course, heterosexuality is totally forgettable. But eventually they pry the doors open and they escape. Then they run into the EMTs working on the kitchen staff, and Mary runs over to this woman who the EMTs already looked at and cleared, and she instantly diagnoses a very serious problem that this woman needs immediate help for, which the male EMT completely missed, even though he's fully qualified medical personnel and she's a second-year med student. This scene is pointless, has nothing to do with anything, and only seems to exist so the writers can demonstrate that women are awesome and men suck at everything. Meanwhile, you'd think that Kate would be in a big hurry because there's all these people, including her parents, who are in mortal peril with the clock ticking down to 0 with only minutes left before they all die. But instead, she's at a pretty leisurely pace here, really taking her time. She's reluctant to suit up and actually try to save these people because, again, she's not Batman. But then, then here comes the moment we all knew was coming. Then she's like, maybe I'm better than Batman. So Kate decides to try to save these people after all, but not until after Luke has redesigned the Batsuit for her yet again. Bear in mind, there are only minutes left before her father, stepmother, and anyone else stuck in those elevators are dead. And rather than just wear the suit as is and haul ass to confront Tommy before time runs out and he murders all these people, Kate waits around, taking the time to put on different makeup while Luke puts a big red insignia on the fucking suit and adds a bright red wig to the top, which apparently was just lying around the Batcave waiting to be used. What are the fucking odds? So basically, it was so important to Kate that she not be mistaken for a man that she took the time to properly accessorize while innocent people's lives were hanging in the balance and they had less than an hour to live before Tommy blew them straight to hell. I would think that if you're a superhero or any kind of decent human being, you go save those people first and worry about your costume's gender identity second. But no, Batwoman had other priorities. Wow. Any sympathy I might have had for Kate is gone. She's literally more concerned with making sure no one mistakes her for a man than she is with saving lives. What if it took Luke longer than an hour to redesign the Batsuit? Was Kate just going to hang out in the Batcave and let all those people in the elevators get killed? This was horrifying. This was Barry Allen levels of selfishness, and that is not a claim I make lightly. But it's true. Kate is not a hero. She's a monster. Fuck you, Kane. Fuck you. Anyway, Tommy is on the roof, alone, waiting for Batman to show up. And I have to ask, what the hell was his plan here? Does he think that Batman has never faced a criminal with a gun before? Because Tommy's entire endgame seems to rely very heavily on being able to shoot a superhero who is very good at not getting shot. Even if the railgun can penetrate the Batsuit, you still have to fucking hit the guy. But Tommy didn't seem to account for that. So Batwoman finally makes her first appearance of the episode, and with about 5 minutes left before the credits roll, we get our first and only action scene, and to add insult to injury, it sucks. It's just like the Batwoman-Alice fight from the pilot. The whole thing looks fake and staged, kind of like we're watching two untrained actors trying to bullshit their way through an action scene, and I have zero fucking patience for it at this point. And another thing, how does Tommy not realize that Kate is Batwoman? He knows Bruce is Batman. He knows Kate knows Bruce is Batman. He just told Kate to get Batman to meet him on the roof within the fucking hour, and now here's a woman dressed like Batman, and he's like, who the hell are you? Oh Christ, dude, take a wild guess! There's only so many people she could be! So Batwoman has to stall for 30 seconds because her gauntlet has a gizmo on it that'll neutralize the railgun, but she forgot to charge it up first. Eventually, she uses this thing, so Tommy blows the cable holding the elevator with her parents inside, and that elevator starts dropping faster than Batwoman's ratings. So Batwoman uses the grapple gun to save the elevator, but then Tommy triggers another bomb and the elevator drops again. And this part is very strange, because we don't see Kate saving the elevator after that. The way it's staged, Kate just shoots the grappling hook back up to the roof and saves herself while the elevator plummets to the bottom floor. That's what this looks like. It honestly looks like she just saves herself and lets her parents die. I'm dead serious, okay? I played this scene back like 5 times just to make sure I wasn't seeing things. Go to the CW website, watch this scene back again, and tell me it doesn't look like that's what's happening here. Apparently, her dad and her stepmom just saved themselves off camera. So Kate is trying to pull herself back up. But Tommy is there. I guess the railgun is just working again somehow because the plot says so, and he's about to shoot her, but then Alice shows up and knocks him out. How did Alice know he was there? How did she know Kate needed help? How did she know any of this was even happening? Beats me. The episode never tells us. Alice just shows up at the perfect time to save the day because magic. Then Alice decides that she doesn't care about getting her boyfriend back anymore, and she shows Kate a picture of the crow she just killed. So now Kate knows that after she let Alice walk away without trying to capture her, Alice murdered someone. And still, Kate makes no attempt to capture Alice or subdue her or stop her or anything. She just says, if you kill any more people, I'm gonna stop thinking of you as my sister. Then Alice fucks off and Kate just lets her leave again. Fuck this show. Fuck this character. Batwoman is trash. This shit was so fucking offensive, it actually made me feel like I've been too mean to Supergirl. Because as bad as Supergirl is, at least she's not Batwoman. That's where we're at after 3 fucking episodes. So the cops are taking Tommy straight to Arkham instead of jail, so once again we're just bypassing due process altogether. Kate flirts with the bartender girl again, and she says she'll call Kate, but she never actually got Kate's number, so I don't know how that's gonna work. And Sophie watches this looking completely lovelorn, but who gives a shit? So the dad and the stepmom just go home where a man was just murdered, so yeah, it's totally safe to sleep there tonight. The dad is starting to suspect that Alice is Beth after all, but the stepmom doesn't want him thinking that for some reason, and she puts a stop to it. And the episode ends with Batwoman letting a news helicopter see her so everyone will finally know that she's not a dude. I hope to God she didn't leave any more innocent people to die while she was doing this, but let's be honest, based on this episode, that's probably something she would do. And then the final fucking insult. The promos for next week show that Batwoman is getting her very own Catwoman. If it turns out to be her new girlfriend, the bartender, I will complain on the internet. If I'm even still talking about this shit show next week, which I really hope I won't have to do, but that will depend on the views this video gets, and holy shit, I picked a bad time to gain a lot of new subscribers. God help me, this episode was fucking terrible. Up until the last 10 minutes, this had to be one of the most boring, never-ending, coma-inducing hours of television I've seen in years. After that, well, I wasn't bored anymore, but that's only because I was so goddamn furious at what I was watching that I couldn't even sit still. It says an awful lot about how horrid the writing is when the crux of the comic book storyline Hush being reduced to an offhand mention and the villain of Hush being reduced to a fucking joke only qualify as minor complaints compared to the big problems with the episode. What they did with Kate this week, in my opinion, makes her absolutely irredeemable as a hero and as a character. In fact, let's not even call her a hero because she is so far removed from that now, it's downright fucking laughable. She literally let Alice walk away twice, knowing full well that Alice has killed people and will surely kill more people, and this has already resulted in the death of one person that Kate could have prevented if she had just tried to capture Alice when she had the chance. And if that wasn't bad enough, she knowingly risked the lives of innocent people just because she wanted to make sure that everyone knew she was a chick. Kate is horrible. Barry Allen still holds the title of worst superhero in the Arrowverse, but Jesus Christ, Kate Kane is gaining on him fast. Watch out, Barry, there's a new kid in town. God help us all. I can only hope that this show gets canceled before that happens. Because if Kate catches up to Barry, or somehow, someway becomes even worse than he is, then I may just have to throw out my TV, because truly, there is no hope for television if that comes to pass. In other news, the writers are still being half-assed about the Yas Queen Slay stuff. There's just enough of it to be really irritating, but still not enough to be funny. Kate is still toying with the full-blown wokeness, but not fully embracing it. There's that unforgivable "I'm better than Batman" line, but she's also portrayed as someone who is new at this costumed crime-fighting thing and makes some mistakes, like forgetting to charge the gauntlet, and she needs Beth to save her from Tommy at one point. So they're kind of straddling the SJW fence right now, not going all in on the cringe or trying to make Kate an actual character. So it just comes off like the writers have no idea what they want the show or the character to be, and they're just making it up as they go along. But one thing is absolutely clear. What the writers don't want the show to be is good. It started out bad, got worse in week 2, and now it's free-falling into an abyss of suck from which I don't think they can escape. And what's more, I don't even think they're trying to. That was Batwoman episode 3, and it was god-awful. I'm getting out of here, guys. Let me know what you thought of this review in the comments section. Help me fend off the YouTube algorithm by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube likes to randomly unsubscribe people for some reason. And remember to ding that bell icon and follow me on Twitter using the link in the description box so you'll always be notified when new videos get uploaded. I'm done for now, but I'll be back soon with more videos. See you soon. Over and out.